It's Ray from CGARS in Leeds, and we're in the Leeds lounge at the moment with a very special guest of mine, and that will be another session of Ray's pairing. And I'm not going to tell you what we're smoking and drinking yet because I want my special guest to tell you what will be that. And my special guest today is one and only Ricardo Carioni. Ricardo.
Ray, thank you very much for always warmly welcoming me. It's always a pleasure to be here in Leeds and be here at CGARS, your beautiful lounge. Today we're smoking a very special cigar, one of my favorite cigars. This is the Perdomo 10th Anniversary Connecticut. This cigar, back in 2018, won Best Cigar of Nicaragua, Best Brand from Nicaragua by Cigar Journal. And what you have here, from the very beginning, you look at that beautiful butterscotchy Ecuadorean wrapper, right? That right away, it's one of the first most important components that gives it that beautiful creamy flavor. Inside this wrapper from Ecuador, what it's caressing and keep it inside, it's a Nicaraguan binder. This is a 6-year-old Habano seed Nicaraguan. And then for fillers, the same. So these are 6-year-old Nicaraguan fillers. Now the special step that Perdomo does at the factory, which I was able to see earlier this year, a couple of times actually, it's a bourbon barrel aging. And that's what it gives that particular tone of color, which you can see is not that yellowy that strikes. It's almost like a butterscotch that already hints at what's going to come at you. This is not going to be your typical Connecticut. This is going to be a beautifully extra aged, extra fermented, with those hints that comes of the bourbon barrel aging in this gorgeous Connecticut cigar. So I'm looking forward to smoking this with you, my friend.
Well, I'm looking forward as well. It looks like a very interesting cigar, so let's smoke.
Let's do it.
So, Ricardo, what do you think is as a first impression on the cigar? For me, the biggest surprise is the strength of the cigar. The first puffs. It's literally very interesting spiciness and peppery, and it doesn't start like a super mellow cigar. To be honest, it's surprisingly have a little bit of kick in the cigar, which I'm pretty sure will mellow probably down further. But it's very savory cigar. Very interesting one. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, Ray, I have to say yes. I've smoked this cigar quite a few times, and it's one that I enjoy. And you're right. I think the second parts of it, and as you start smoking, it would evolve. But at the very beginning, it's giving me a very powerful hello. In the retro, I did feel the spicy, so it kind of woke me up. It woke up my senses quite nicely, which I think is an interesting thing, a nice thing to do when you're smoking a cigar, especially a Connecticut, that you know that has that additional barrel aging to kind of wake you up a little bit. And then when you don't expect it, what comes after? And I think that's the beauty of this cigar. But I'm with you. I think in terms of that, I can feel there's a little bit of creaminess eventually at the back once you go through the reach when you just do it, but it's not yet fully developed. So at the moment, I'm with you. It's nice and peppery. It has a bit of body.
Yeah, it's surprising. Let's say it looks like a morning cigar, but it might be not a morning. It might be even evening cigar. You know, if you like that kind of after dinner pepperiness and spiciness, you can smoke the cigar easily after dinner as well.
But it's interesting. See, even after a couple of puffs already, for me, it starts mellowing down quite quickly. So that's the thing with this cigar. It's just, I think, the first puff or two, but then right after, it starts getting into a different kind of style. But yeah, I agree. I feel this cigar, it's a celebratory cigar in many ways, right? It's the kind of cigar you're doing at a middle of the day or in the evening. It's not necessarily a breakfast, early morning kind of cigar.
Agreed.
It has a lot of body. It has I think between the Habano binder and the filler, what they bring to it, they too take the Connecticut wrapper to a different place. And I think that's precisely what Nick wanted to do. Once you meet Nick and he shakes your hand, shakes it quite firmly, and that wakes up you as a first encounter.
Perfect. So we're on the first third of the cigar, and it's time for the pairing, what I'm recommending for the cigar at the beginning. And what we're gonna be today, it will be El Rumbo Añejo, which is a really interesting Cuban white rum, which we aged for 9 months in ex-cognac casks. And we'll give a a little bit different expression on the rums usually, because there's not many rums aged in a cognac casks. and that is extraordinary rum on the aroma, on the nose. As you can see yourself, it's really weird smell on the nose, and it's mellowed down a little bit because the white rum can be around 50% ABV. That is mellowed down to 40, so it's really drinkable, really nice and beautiful rum. And I think we'll start well with the cigar, which at the beginning I mentioned it was quite peppery and spicy. The rum will give you a little bit of sweetness, which will settle down that most of the power in the cigar at the beginning. And cigar is already start getting creamier.
Yeah.
Rum and creamy cigar, it's always been a good pairing for me. Hope for you as well, as a Nicaraguan person. You're born and bred with rum and cigar, so hope you're gonna share that expression with me as well.
I totally agree with you. I feel this rum, Cuban rum aged in the cognac barrels. It's a very seductive smell, and it grabs you straight away. And it's a little bit different to what I'm used to smoke and drink in cigars. The cigar is getting up to that part where it's getting a lot creamier, a lot smoother, and it's getting the characteristics that I love about the cigar. And rum indeed is part of our culture, it's part of the Nicaraguan upbringing. We are the land of lakes, volcanoes, cigars, and rum. It's the first drink of choice when you first start drinking alcohol. Now, when I typically smoke a cigar, if it's for research or work, if I really want to focus on the cigar, I tend not to pair with anything, not even water. The interesting thing is when I start smoking many cigars in a day, I need some sweetness to wake up my palate, to wake up my senses. Typically it could be Diet Coke, but if I have an option, a nice rum that can pick up a little bit of that sweetness and basically wake up my senses in my palate, does wonders to be able to taste and enjoy a cigar. But yeah, I think, look at even the colors. They just match in terms of colors, they match in terms of the smell. Now in terms of the flavor, let me give it a first sip. This is really good. This is very good. It's a new discovery for me. So this is Cuban rum, brought to Snowdonia and aged in cognac barrels in beautiful Snowdonia.
Yes, it's produced in Snowdonia. It's a Cuban rum, but as I say, it came in as a purely white rum without any added flavors or anything. We age it in a cognac cask, it's 9 months, and you have in that beautiful añejo. Even the color is, as you mentioned, is impeccable. It's not a typical dark rum color.
No.
Because the typical dark rum can be really orangey and that kind of very dark reddish. That is more whiskey color, as I like to say, because the cognac cask is not that dark as a sherry or bourbon or anything. Yes, you can see it. It's beautiful color.
It's a beautiful amber tones to it. Again, it just goes really beautiful in terms of visually appealing to the eye for the cigar. Flavor, it has a little bit of a kick at the beginning, I have to say. This is a rum that is not going to leave you indifferent. It does have, I suppose, many ways like the first puff we had of the cigar, that it kind of said hello in a very firm way. The rum has said hello to me with a nice little punch. But it's what you look for. I think with a somewhat younger rum of quality from Cuba, white, you want it to be able to, now my senses are back alive. So had I smoked 3-4 of these cigars, this would have been the best moment to get a little bit of rum to wake up again and reset things up in my palate. Beautiful introduction. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah,
thank you, Ray.
Beautiful pairing. No, I'm agree with you. I'm super happy with the pairing I chose. So we're gonna keep smoking. We're gonna enjoy our rum, and we'll see what we're gonna be our final thoughts on that. So we are in the final part of the cigar, and I'm super surprised by the mellowing down on the cigar. It's different cigar for me. You know, that's how the cigar is supposed to taste. You know, when I'm judging a cigar in the journal or anything, I always score high the cigars which have a transition, have a complexity. That's what I'm missing some of the cigars. There's amazing cigars on the market which they're boring. You smoke all the way through with the same flavors, aromas, strength, density, everything. But that cigar starts with kick and mellow down, creamy, super, even if I would say, you know, cliche like Cuban-esque type. But it is actually, it's very close to a Cuban type cigar where you don't have any kick, it's only creaminess and everything. And maybe it's the rum, which talking here, because the rum is, you know, sweet drink and that will kill a lot of the nicotine in the cigar and literally balance your body. But I don't know if you agree with me.
I do. I feel that got very smooth, very elegant, very creamy, and that's what the story that Nick and the team at Perdomo wanted to achieve, right? They wanted to transmit a story that is interesting, that is not just a monotone dialogue. It has different dimensions to it. It starts with a little bit of a strength, and it develops and it mellows. I feel that the rum may have also impacted a little bit the way we're tasting it, in a positive way, in a good way. I think my palate, it got the effect that I wanted with the sweetness a little bit, and it kept it awake throughout the whole cigar. One of the things that I feel with the cigar, you know, cigars can be in my opinion, the most honest product in the world. In the sense, it can be also very cruel. You know, if there's something in the cigar making process, if you try to cut a corner, if you try to rush the fermentation, if you try to rush the curing, it will come in the cigar. This cigar, to me, is testament of what I saw at the factory, Natalie, and the way I saw it at the farm, and then at the factory, El Monstruo, as they used to call it when they founded it in '99. And one of the men that I feel on the team, it's a tribute to what they do, is in the sorting process. So they have Aristides, Cuban man, in his 90s, at the factory, with an ensemble of women sorting and picking up the right leaves for the binders and the fillers. And the selection process of all the things that I saw in that factory was one of the elements that really, really jumped to me as something that they do take the steps. And they actually take 3,054 steps to make this cigar. They didn't cut corners. And that way, I think it's evident in what we've been able to enjoy today. Would you agree?
Completely. It's fully agree. And it was really, really interesting smoking and sharing experience with you here. So I'm super happy that you managed to come and give me the honor to smoke a cigar with me, share the pairing which came to my mind, and I hope I'll do it again.
It's been a privilege for me. I really, really enjoyed it. You know, I enjoy your company, I enjoy your knowledge. And today you introduced me to a beautiful rum that I wasn't familiar with. And enjoying a cigar with a friend, with somebody that knows and enjoys cigars as much as I do and has the love and the passion, nothing can beat that. So thank you very much. Really, really appreciate it. And I look forward to enjoying more cigars with you.
Thank you very much, Ricardo.
Thank you, Ray.